You approach Scalebrook through its expansive fields and spot smoke rising up into the sky. A short
Quick! We have to help those people! Yes?
Yeah! What is it? Yes, yes! I'm with you! Ha ha! Huh? With pleasure!
Pavrakas! End it!
He hardly put up a fight! What is it? Huh? Who is you? What is it?
Huh? Understood. At once.
Yeah!
Find somewhere safe to hide. We'll come back for you once we've... End it!
Yes? Oh, what bad luck for you! Who's next? Oh, what bad luck for you! Huzzah!
Yes? On my way. Pavrakas!
Huh? He hardly put up a fight! As good as done! What is it?
Huh?
What is it? With pleasure! Oh, what bad luck for you! Of course! Attack! Yes? On my way! Ha ha!
Uh-huh. Understood.
Who's next?
Yes?
Huh? All right. I didn't hit you very hard. He hardly put up a fight.
Huh?
And what now? Come here, you.
On my way. End it!
Huh? What is it? Ha ha! That's it. They're fleeing. I don't think so. They're just rallying.
And that's what we should do too. Come on.
Thank you so much. You saved us.
Not yet. The orcs are rallying. You must join us.
But we can't.
You must. Here they come.
And what now? Yes?
Huh? Pavrakas!
What is it?
Uh-huh.
Huh? Oh, what bad luck for you! He put up a fight! Who's next? I didn't hit you very hard! What now?
Yes.
He put up another one bites the dust! Say goodbye forever! Of course!
Huh? Understood.
Yeah! Yes? All right. Huh? Yes, yes. Too easy. Of course.
Yes? End it!
Yeah! Ha-ha! Yeah! Who's next?
On my way.
And what now? Ha-ha! What is it? With pleasure. Pow! Another one bites the dust. Huh?
Huh? Understood. Pavrakas!
Yes? Who's next? Huzzah!
While Boindale still hunts the last of the orcs through the alleyways of the village, you and Boendal are already helping search for survivors. A middle-aged man nervously steps from one foot to the other and tries to force a smile.
He left behind some gold as a dowry for my...
But before you can reply, the man takes a deep breath and forces himself to look at you.
What am I saying? How ungrateful.
We won't accept your gold. Bury your dead, rebuild your village, and be a good father to your daughter.
The man opens his mouth to say something, but then he just shakes his head and finally starts again.
I thank you, dear.
You see a camp with a wagon and 2 people on the edge of the path. Behind them, you don't want to give them a shock, so you address them. The 2 traders look up and visibly jump when they... It doesn't escape your attention that you seem to be causing the traders some uneasiness, but you take up their offer and sit down. The twins follow your example.
We're only travelers. We're looking for someone who said...
Someone who lives here?
The traders exchange...
Normally we wouldn't stop and rest here, but the horses are too exhausted. Our departure from Parista was delayed and we must have driven them too hard.
Why does Blacksaddle make you feel uneasy? It doesn't look particularly inviting, but it's only a mountain.
Only a mountain? You don't know the legend.
The trader...
Blacksaddle was once known as Cloudpiercer, and it towered up into the heavens, the upper slopes of pure gold and the summit covered in snow. The humans they called on the dwarves to help them. They were able to tunnel up through Cloudpiercer to the top. They hollowed it out and carried away. There were too many holes inside for it to hold together. It collapsed and buried both greedy parties underneath it. The mountain lost its tremendous size and its beauty. Never heard of it. Sounds like you...
You come from Parista. How are things?
No news to speak of, I'd say. Well, except for Nudin.
You know Nudin, the knowledge-lusty. Lot Yonan introduced him.
Oh, nothing really. Just rumors.
You nod at the trader to continue.
And he looks ill, apparently. Well, that's what someone I know said.
Later in the night, after eating together and some friendly conversation, it's a night in which nothing happens. And the next morning, after a march through the thick pine forest, Blacksaddle, the sinister tabletop mountain,
Are you sure that the Famulus lives here?
Yes, according to Lot Yonan.
although you try to put a lot of assurance,
No castle, no tunnel, no camp.
Then we'll have to take a close...
You do that, scholar. We'll be waiting for...
An old tree. Looks like it could fall... There we go. I should be able to get up. Oh, phew. I hope this is all worth it. Here's a... There's something engraved.
You realize with surprise.
Built with the blood of our enemies, be unyielding as the rock, and soak the land in their blood. Huh? Master Garen! My inquiries are almost at an end. That means I can finally go to be. I deposited my most valuable things in the grave of Horengarth before my departure and secured it with magic. The password is Greenglade.
Useful. An eternal flame.
Hello? Born of stone, forged in battle.
You're not sure if you really want to know what was once in this basin. The whole place gives you...
A rune. A sarcophagus. Graves. Could be buried here.
You have difficulty deciphering the scroll.
Throw the firstlings in the forge. Beat the secondling.
A series of weapons that are all clearly of dwarven origin. The spider webs and rust suggest they have been here for quite...
Ah! Garen's most valuable belongings. Letters from his lover, a silk scarf that must have belonged to her. Thirdlings, the fortress belongs... It belongs to the...
You see sketches and notes on the architectural features, statues and... It looks as though Garen lived in the fortress for a while.
He's not stealing, it would just be...
So, Scholar, what are the results?
There is an abandoned fortress in the mountain.
Boindale's eyes narrow.
A thirdling fortress! Here! In the middle of Girdle.
The fortress has been long abandoned by the looks of it. Anyway, I can't go to Ogre's death until I've... The High King. Why do you want...
All right then. It's about the choice of the new High King. Gandagar, the king of the Fourthlings.
But our acting High King Gundrabur wants to prevent that from happening. He fears that Gandagar wishes to
But what if...
Boindale is about to say something, but his side... You look distrustfully from one twin to the other. Boindale has donned...
What does this king...
Dwarves and elves just don't get along. Brachus and Sertalia...
I know that, but going to war...
Well, there must be more behind it. They say that the king of the Fourthlings is full of hate
A thirdling fortress?
and worrying. But they've always been wily. They move...
I've read about it. Lorenberg, their progenitor, rejected the name that Vrakas gave him, who in turn did not give him any special talent, so his kingdom studied war.
It helps them defending the East. But it also meant they ended up confronting the other kingdoms. No dwarf would ever even think of injuring one of his kind. Never mind, when they were even more powerful, they wanted to become the rulers of all dwarves. They are envious of our skill.
Whatever, your High King must wait. I have a quest to...
But our quest is...
Boindale raises a placatory hand and throws his rucks...
Let it be, dear brother. Look at him. He is made...
There are dead orcs lying in the defensive trenches and strewn over the meadows in front of the city. Some of the locals are busy throwing the bodies. You enter the city and the garrison at its centre without being spoken to. It is only...
Dwarves, eh?
It looks like you've...
Had. Our scouts detected the army early on, and we were able to repel them without any great losses.
You're mighty war.
The soldier isn't intimidated by Boindale. He juts his chin out confidently.
I didn't know that Steepleton was...
We have fertile meadows. That's what we have to thank for the city's growth in recent years. At the time of my... Now we have a market, a temple, and of course, there are royal messengers stationed in the tower, which doesn't...
You said you had messengers here. I'd like to send a...
Lot Yonan in Yonendar.
If the carrier pigeon...
Then I'll send for a scribe.
Thank you, but I can write it myself. Paper and ink will be sufficient.
The guard, once you've been given the writing implements, you write...
I must...
Commander Valor doesn't have time. He's still...
Commander Valor is dealing with the orc problem, and I...
The guard eyes you with interest and tries to judge. The commander looks up from his work. The guard repeats what you told him.
Your information about the orcs could be useful. We have fought...
The commander listens attentively and now and then asks questions as you tell him about the 3 orc armies and the meeting of the chieftains with...
The orc army...
What was left of it, they headed south. Unfortunately, I can't...
To the south. Towards Scalebrook, perhaps. We defeated an army of orcs down there. It wasn't an easy fight, but they'd already taken a bit...
The commander looks at you and seems torn for a moment. Then he pulls himself together.
Perhaps you didn't know.
We must press on.
Kill as many orcs as you can, dwarves.
While taking a rest, you see a cart trundling along the road not far away from you. A young couple are sitting on the... The sight reminds you of a long, unanswered question.
So...
Pretty. Very pretty.
Uh-huh.
You were expecting a little more.
No, I would say it's more like fluff.
And what do they do?
In our kingdom, most take care of domestic life. They take the animals down to the meadows in the valleys, make sure the...
It only ever causes problems when men and women stand shoulder to shoulder in battle.
Some of them are talented stonemasons and smiths, and beware of insulting their skills.
You arrive at a crossroads with a tavern on the corner. You enter the tavern with a determined stride and are greeted by a thick wall. You walk to the nearest empty table with the twins in. You hear surly muttering from one of the tables.
What a...
Did 2 travellers pass...
The landlord shakes his head indifferently and mumbles something incoherently. One of the guests is about to... You stand up and turn to the room.
This round's on me.
The faces of the guests and the landlord brighten up immediately. You turn to the guest. The man glances up briefly and then stares drunkenly at his tankard.
I was not at the stone gateway, and I don't know what...
The drunkard and his neighbour are given a start. They mumble an apology.
Come on now, tell...
The man who was going to speak the first time round looks over to his neighbour, who nods.
2 travellers spent the night here. One had a robe on, the other was a mercenary.
One of the other drinkers finds his voice too.
There was a hell of...
You left some gold here for the trouble. I thought they meant the noise, but then I noticed the broken window.
The landlord sighs.
Please, don't.
We're tired.
Of course, gentlemen.
A colourful trader's wagon drawn by 2 stocky horses is coming towards you. A small man is sitting on the box seat.
Greetings, my friends. All too rarely does one meet waif...
Greetings, Mort. I am Tungdil. This is Boindil and Boendal.
You are...
Wayfaring dwarves may not be common, but a travel...
Then you see what great luck it is that we've met like this. Come.
Mort, I hope you don't mind me asking, but which kingdom are you from?
The dwarfs
My kingdom? Is that important? I'm my own king.
At your side, Boindil is tensing his muscles, and you think you see from the corner of your eye his hand...
You 2 must be secondlings, right? I can tell by your... armour.
As you yourself don't know for sure which kingdom you belong to, you give...
Where are you headed?
To Clintel, a small village where I can expect to do very little business. But the people there are nice and kind. I've known some.
After glancing at Boindale's grave expression, Mort continues unfazed.
I can say in all.
That is because there is no reason to change things if you do them right first time. We dwarves think first before.
I grew up with Magus Lot Yonan in Yonandar.
I rarely leave this area. People know me here, so the abuse isn't too bad.
Mort shrugs his shoulders, as if it were no big deal. When he sees the concern...
We must press on.
Mort smiles.
The feeling is mutual, Tungdil.
You shouldn't be so trusting.
The wagon is no more than a few yards away when Boindale...
He's an outcast, Tungdil. His kingdom and his clan have banished him. It's a severe punishment, only dealt out.
The twins enter into a long discussion about what crime the trader may have committed, and go on to teach you the basics of dwarven law.